Hi, Jenny.
Yeah.
It's nice to see so many faces. Not seen you for all about 18 months, I think.
I know I can't seem to have large gallery mode. Oh, it's because I've got gallery at the top. There we go.
Che cosa vuoi?
Okay, I'm just checking through the participants to make sure that Roger and Ahmed are on the call. Are you there, Roger and Ahmed?
Almost, but I think you can start off, Johnny, and then.
They are quite key, so it'd be good to have them on the call. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. We'll make a start. I'm sure people will sort of join us as they come in, and then we'll sort of they'll be able to pick it up as we go. Thank you very much for coming. That's the first thing. This is been designed really as a show and tell to talk about what we're doing around the new cloud experience this summer. I think you will have seen an email that came out last week and then was referred to again in the exec comms. And we've talked about it once or twice over the last few months in terms of preparing us for this. So I'm going to give a little bit of background about what we're doing and where we're trying to get to over the course of the summer. And then I'm going to hand over to Ahmed and Roger, who are going to give a little demonstration, the show and tell bit of this, demonstrating what the Brave New World looks like on this AVD and little demonstrations of OneDrive and collaborating and things like that. And then we'll open it up to questions, really. So use the opportunity to ask whatever questions you like. We're joined here by Simon Evans from IT, and there are various other people out from IT I can see on the call, so who might chip in occasionally with some of the technical stuff if that should arise. But really, it's just to sort of paint a picture of what the summer will look like, what we're trying to achieve, and the sort of the goals out of that, and hopefully making your experience of One Manchester Technology a better thing than it is at the moment. So you'll have seen in the email last week, and as I said, I've spoken about it off and on over the course of the spring. This summer, we're moving away from VM Horizon, hurrah, I hear you say, that desktop, to a new OM cloud experience. And I suppose non-technically, if you can imagine at the moment, everything that we do, all the work we do on these applications, they're all sort of on rusty old server racks buried in the basement of Eastland House and Lovell House and things like that. And so what we're doing is moving away from these physical servers and moving everything up into a cloud. It's the same idea that you have on your phone, streaming, Spotify, iTunes, all those applications that you can get to anywhere, anytime, any place. And it's essentially the same thing that we're doing here, taking all of the applications that we use that you currently access by going into VM Horizon and taking all of those and putting them into this Azure cloud, the OM cloud. And then so you will still be able to access all of those applications, et cetera, but you'll be accessing them in a slightly different way. So that's what we're sort of trying to do here. We have to make the changes to people's laptops in person. It's too technical to do remotely. We'll be able to do some remotely, I'm sure, but the best way of doing this is in person. There are 5 or 6 stages we have to go through for each laptop. So we're going to be starting the process on the 19th of July when we're allowed to be back into the office, fingers crossed. We'll be doing it in groups of 5 at a time. Everyone will receive an invitation fairly soon, inviting you to a session which will be either a morning or an afternoon session in groups of 5. We're going to try very hard to try and keep teams together you can imagine over the course of the summer with holidays and all of this sort of thing, that might not always be possible. But the idea being that won't it just be great to be back in the office with your colleagues for a morning, learning this together and thinking about how it'll affect you and your teams. We're being supported by our cloud champions, a number of whom I can see on the screen in front of me as well. So yeah, starting on the 19th of July rather, sorry, 4 days a week through about 10 weeks into mid-September. We need to obviously get through every team in the business, everyone that's using a laptop, a Surface Pro or a laptop. And we think that we should be done by mid-September. Then there'll be a little bit of wriggle room at the end there. There'll be a few wastes and strays and people that we've missed through holidays and sickness and things like that. But that's the idea. So it's really an exercise in getting everyone in Lovell House's laptops updated physically and having to sort of come in to have that done to them, to their laptops. While we are updating your laptops, we will have the opportunity to train out some of this. So training out things around OneDrive and what the new Azure, the new desktop will look like, and more work on Teams, because it's one of the other great things about this. Without the need for VMware Horizon, you'll have a much better experience on Teams and things like that. All of those Microsoft applications are much easier to use outside VMware Horizon. So there'll be a little bit of reminders on how to get the best out of Teams and things like that. So that's sort of what the day or your morning will look like. 5 of you grouped together with IT, giving instructions on how to update and what to do and what buttons to press and when to press them. Then there'll be a little gap when your laptop won't be able to be used because it'll be updating. So we'll be providing you training on that. And we're hoping that it'll all be done by the end of the morning. A few little things for you to remember, and you will be reminded of this in invitations that will come out and so on and so forth. But you'll obviously need to bring your laptops with you. That's quite important for updating laptops. And of course, the chargers that you use for that. You'll also have to bring with you the device, the phone you use to do multi-factor authentication, because there'll be various points in the morning where you'll be logged in and logged out and have to do that MFA thing as well. But don't worry about remembering that now. There'll be plenty more in joining instructions when you get your individual instructions. You will cease using VMware Horizon once your laptop is updated. So we're not having to wait for everybody to do it. I think we'll keep teams together. So at the point that your laptop is updated, that is you now in the new cloud experience. And I think, as I said earlier, one of the great benefits of this is that we'll all then have a consistent approach to using the technology. The applications will run much more smoothly. And we'll be able to therefore have a consistent way of working together and crucially be able to collaborate as well, working using OneDrive, being able to work on documents together and so on and so forth. I think I've mentioned we've got some cloud champions that have been sort of working with us over the last couple of weeks and have started sort of playing around with the machines themselves, are on the test environment, getting used to it. And in a minute, I'm going to hand over to Ahmed and Roger. Are you with us now, Roger and Ahmed?
Yeah, Roger's here.
Oh, excellent. Good. Because so what I thought would be really useful, Roger chiefly and Ahmed and others have been playing around with this, and it's a good opportunity, I think, for you all to see it live, see what the new desktop environment looks like, and how much easier it is in terms of logging in and logging out and so on and so forth. So we'll do that next. We'll leave questions to afterwards, if you don't mind, so that Roger and Ahmed can sort of go through it, and then we'll open the floor really to questions. And if I could just ask that you raise your hands if you want to ask a question, or write it in chat if you prefer to do that. And Jojo and Caro will be monitoring the chat feed. And then Simon, myself, others will be able to chip in and answer any questions you may have afterwards. So if you're ready, Roger, Ahmed, I think probably over to you.
Yeah,
Hi,
Ahmed
guys.
in about 3 minutes, so just FYI. So Roger, you start, and then Ahmed will join us.
Right.
Yeah, if people could mute, please, because I'm getting feedback.
Yep.
Okay, right. Hello, everyone. I've been on the new system now for about 3 weeks, been testing it and making sure it all worked, and actually testing it in live time, particularly on QL and all the other functionality that the customer service team uses. But I think everyone really is wanting to know how it actually works on QL. So without ado, I shall share my screens and hopefully share the right one. And here we go. Right, so this is your normal desktop with all the icons in here and the taskbar down at the bottom. And the important one to note is this remote desktop, which is two little buttons, a red button showing with two directions going. So you can either access it by going on your taskbar or from your remote, and it's called remote desktop. So simply click on it, and this brings up all the icons in much the same way as you used to see in VMware, all the key things that you're going to use during the day. So for example, we've got the wiki in here, and we've got Ignite, which are used by the customer service team. But the most important thing for all of us here, and I've been using this all day, and you watch it not open up now, he said cynically. So you just click on it and put your password in. And that then starts configuring the session. Now, I tried this about 10 minutes ago. There we go. So it brings up QL, and you just connect. And there you are into QL, as opposed to getting on and picking up in your laptop and logging into VMware and then watching it load up for what it sometimes seems up to 20 minutes, but probably only takes 1 or 2 minutes. So it's instant and you're into the program. If you then needed to refer back to the remote desktop, you can do so, and you can open up other. So if I just open up, for example, the wiki, which we use here in the call center, and there's the wiki that opens up, and then you can put that wherever you like on the 1 or 2 screens that you're actually working with. I'll just close that off for a minute, and I'll minimize that. So still, the functionality. So here we are. I'm into the test bed, Froston Paradise. Loads up just as fast or as slow as it always did on QL, depending on whether you're a cynic or not. Select the correct tenant. We'll sit there and wait while it opens. As you can see, full functionality, everything that you've been using in QL is exactly the same as it was before. Absolutely no changes, nothing new to learn, and it all works. We've tried all the various things, and it all seems absolutely fine. I'll close that again. Some of you may be using Documotive. So once again, you go into Documotive, load it up. Documotive opens, and the same functionality and everything that you were using before is exactly the same, all there. Into indexation. Absolutely no difference there. Exactly the same as you used in VMware.
Yep. So the main benefits that we found is, one, you don't have to sign into VMware at all. So there's none of this me signing into a computer, then signing into another system, then loading up QL and loading up whatever other devices. The other benefit that we found is there's none of this confusion, especially when playing videos and that kind of stuff, where it's like, make sure you open it outside of VMware, make sure you do this, that, the other. Everything is outside of VMware. There is no inside VMware in this new environment. I've personally found it a lot smoother. There were teething issues to start off with, but that's why we were doing a significant amount of testing. And what you can see on Roger's laptop screen at the moment is he's got these icons that are unique to what he needs access to. Every single one of you will have the unique functionality that you need. So there's certain things that I have on mine that Roger doesn't have on his because he doesn't need them from a management point of view. There'll be certain things that you'll be looking there and you're going, where's this, where's that? It's IT will be meeting up and making sure that along with your management team, they make sure you have the right access. It also improves we've had a major issue in the call center with favorites not saving regularly. So rather than us having favorites, actually all of our links are saved here. So we've got a direct connection to whichever systems we use. And in the call center, we use a lot. So all in all, like I say, for me, it's a smoother experience. It's felt personally faster. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rollout within our team and having them see the benefit as well.
One thing to bear in mind is that you notice that the web browser in all of this is Microsoft Edge. I understand that other web browsers like Chrome will not be, and Firefox will not be supported. So therefore, if you access the internet through those ways, you will have to then come back and access the internet through Chrome. So it's just a question of opening it up wherever that's opening at the moment, and then all the other things that you actually use which are directly web-based. So, for example, you can operate Outlook either as an app, or you can use the web-based versions of it.
Yeah. The other thing to be aware of is at the moment you will be going into VMware and going into My Documents and saving your files across that. The other thing that we'll be looking at today is OneDrive. And basically OneDrive is just the new location that your My Documents will be saved, and files will be imported once you are asked to come in to do your upgrade. It'll be moved along, and all your files that you have in My Documents now will just be migrated and transferred over. So if you have anything in there, they will not be lost. But what we would recommend is anything that you might save on your desktop is start to move into your My Documents and then in your OneDrive, and really start to focus on using your OneDrive rather than your desktop. Anyone who saves things on the desktop, it impacts on the speed of their machine and how quickly it loads up. So that's a genuine recommendation to start cleaning that up and keeping it as clear as possible, and only having the default things on there that IT kind of put on there for us to use.
And you would, to find all your personal folders, and you would actually go to the OM File Explorer and open this all up. Which is, typically this has changed since I last looked at this. Why is it doing that? All right, just give me a minute. It's different. I'm not quite sure why, guys, but the File Explorer that you open up in Remote Desktop at the moment does not appear to be showing my OneDrive folders. So that's something that's actually got to be looked at. But what you should be getting up is this, which is OneDrive folder, and then underneath that will be all the shared folders underneath. So there's OneDrive, and there's my own particular personal folders in OneDrive, and set up so that it actually sort of affects the way that I work, but everyone works. So if you've been saving anything in OneDrive up to now, when everything's migrated across, you might want to do a bit of housekeeping and amalgamate files that you've already got in OneDrive with the files that you've actually that were originally saved historically or which to keep in VMware.
The other good thing about OneDrive and it being saved in there is being able to share things and working collaboratively with people. It's a lot easier for you to send a link, share it via SharePoint. Multiple people can be then accessing the same file. And if you're anything like me and probably the rest of the customer service managers, we had in the N drive, which is just the name of the file we use, which is the shared one, we have folders within there, and I'll be putting my hands up and saying there's one in there that's called managers, and then in that managers one, there's one that says that's named Ahmed, and then within Ahmed, I've got I don't know, another user's name where I've saved their documents. And what we're saying is actually that's not the best way of doing things, and it's actually very, very messy. And what we really need from everyone is maybe to do a bit of a tidy up and a bit of a, I don't know, a stock take of their items and where they're saved. And actually, if it's personal to you and doesn't need anyone else to use it, be saving it in your personal OneDrive rather than in these separate folders that are just dotted about everywhere. And it's more like being a librarian and putting them away in an organized manner. If there's something that all of you need to work on throughout, clearly, obviously, that's why you will have N drives and the shared drives that you have. So yeah, definitely something to look out for. And maybe this is a perfect opportunity for you to clear anything that you've not used in a while. And just will help with, again, your user experience in terms of speed, in terms of functionality, and just finding things. If it's old and it's from about 5 to 7 years old, if not longer with some of us, maybe it's time to clear and get rid.
Okay, I don't think I've got anything else to show you at the moment.
Okay, well, thank you very much. That's very kind of you both. I think you ably demonstrated that it's a much slicker experience for everybody. And don't worry about the not seeing your OneDrive in that file explorer, Roger. That's probably just a vagary of the test environment you're in, and clearly it won't be the same in the live environment. And it's just a little gremlin in the test environment.
Gremlin, yeah. It was there before, but it isn't now. So.
Trust us, Gov, it was there. Yeah.
Roger, I think we've just reset the profiles this week, so I bet if you just run that OneDrive first time experience, it'll come back for you.
Okay, right, will do.
Okay, well, the questions are already flying in, and I think a few of them are being answered as we go, but we're here to open up to you and questions. You've had a little bit of a look at what the future looks like, and we've talked around those, and I think I'm grateful to Roger and Ahmed for reminding people about the need to clean your personal drives. There's been, we've had a lot of fun over the last couple of weeks trying to work out what everyone calls this. It's whether it's your W drive, your home drive, your personal documents where you keep them on the desktop or wherever. But the overarching message is please just have a clear out, do a bit of housekeeping, make sure that what's in there is pertinent and needed and be brought across, and anything that is neither of those things, get rid of them. It will make the whole migration, the updating of your laptops a lot easier on the day as well, if we're not migrating gigs worth of data across. So yeah, far away. Oh, sorry.
Most questions have been answered directly, but there are a couple of new ones. Lauren has just posted one saying, can design files be moved into OneDrive, as this wasn't possible when we first moved to it? And I suppose, do you mean with the size of design files, Lauren?
I think it was a file format. So there's with all kinds of things design files can be saved as, and I'm aware that it was possible when our team were one of the first to get moved to this prior to lockdown. So I don't know if that's been looked into since.
Simon?
I will defer to Simon on that. No.
So I'll be honest, Lauren, I'm not sure. I know it's Adobe, isn't it? Creative Suite you're referring to, is that right?
Yeah, so they could be InDesign files, Photoshop files. I know Adam uses video files and usually they're fine, but I don't know whether the others are okay.
Yeah, and I know we did have a solution for storing the videos, and I'm right in thinking you're keeping the rest of your files in Adobe Cloud at the moment.
Well, I don't have Adobe, so Rose and Adam have that. But if I work with an external designer, or if I work with either of those two, I can't view them because I don't have Adobe on my computer. So we all save. Well, prior to lockdown, we were all saving in the G Drive in shared folders, but whether the access will even be available to do that, or whether we can all access those same files in SharePoint, that's the question, because you might move things and then we lose all that stuff that we had.
We're moving the share folders across. The share folders for the time being will remain unchanged, Lauren. We're doing some movement behind the scenes, but at the front end you won't know any different. The shared files as accessed today will be the same as the shared files as accessed the day after you migrate. For the time being, certainly. So there's no change there. So anything saved in shared files at the moment in those folders will come straight across, and the day after you migrate, you'll find them in the same place, in the same way.
Yeah, so I think for the time being, the only thing will be anything saved in your W drive will need to move before this particular change, but we'll have a look into those files and make sure we have an answer by the time we do get to that next stage. So yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
And just right there is use of the W drive again. The W drive, we mean the home drive, the personal drive, the one we saw on Roger's thing. So everyone's seemingly got a different term for it, but whether you call it personal documents, W drive, or home drive, or whatever, it's that place.
Apart from tidying up your documents as well, Yevgeny, no, it's just a case of tidy up your documents. It'll make the process cleaner and slicker and smoother for you, and you won't have to wait as long for that to be done. And that is basically about it. And attend on the day that you're invited to, and the times that you're given. That's basically it.
And then, so Helen's put, what's the deadline for this to be done? So it's September.
Yes, we've really got to move everybody away from VMware Horizon by mid-September. That's that.
Sorry,
that's...
I was referring specifically to when have we got to tidy up our files by?
But sorry, yes, sorry. 24 hours before your laptop is updated. So and it'll so the day before you come in to migrate is when it's got to be done by. So, and bear in mind this is a long 10-week process. So for some of you, this you'll have until August, September to do it. Others who are nearer the front obviously will probably have to get on and do a little bit sooner rather than later. But yes, essentially before your day of being updated, you need to have done that little bit of work to clear down your personal documents.
Okay. And then Darren, I use my own MacBook Pro for work. Will I still be able to do so?
I will defer to IT on that one.
So we will be basically, I think, encouraging people to use one Manchester devices going forward. It's not an easy answer because, I mean, technically you could still use it for the majority of applications, but there might be issues. But we'll be speaking to all the Mac users, whether it be personal devices or one Manchester devices, particularly like any contractors and things like that. And yeah, we'll talk that through with you.
Now it's just disappeared off the chat feed, but Victoria, I think I saw a message from you asking about OneDrive. Obviously, it's going to be an integral part of how we work in the future. We will be training on OneDrive as part of the update day. When you come in and are updated, there is a whole section that Alex Bond, I've just seen there, is in chat, is currently putting together training material on OneDrive and making it pertinent to teams and so on and so forth. But this does provide me with another opportunity to say to people, there's a little question mark in the bottom left-hand corner of Teams that you can go in and look in help topics in there. And if you want to start getting an early understanding of all of these things, just type into the help topics in training and on OneDrive, and Microsoft give you chapter and verse on OneDrive. There are introductory videos, there are links to this, that, and the other. So if you just want to do a little bit of homework of your own accord, that's a brilliant place to start. They really have, they've nailed the training and engagement material there, Microsoft, and you've got it either in written form or video form or however you like your training delivered. They've got it covered there in the bottom left-hand corner of everyone's Teams channel. We are also, as I said, we're providing training on the day, but we will also publish training material on Enigma at the start of this. Probably, you know, we're going to do it. We've got a few more tweaks to do. We're doing a little more testing this week, more work with the cloud champions. But by next week, we'll have finished all of the training material and made it, you know, as pertinent as we can to One Manchester's needs. And at that point, we'll stick it up on Enigma. You'll all get access to it anyway on the day you have training. But it's just, you know, by all means, just go in there and start making yourself sort of comfortable with what it's going to look like in the future. So yeah.
Okay, that's great. So, thanks very much. I do still have concerns. Obviously, if you take your laptop in, I constantly use VMware every time I log in the morning to save my files, go into my files, everything like that. And I don't know whether my colleagues do in the growth team. But I do have concerns that obviously when I take my laptop in, as soon as you update it, I'm not going to be, or I'm going to struggle to access my files because it's going to take me a bit. I'll of course look at it, prior to that, but I am a bit worried about it. So I'm sure I can come to everybody in IT, and I'm sure they can help me. And as Judy, I think, mentioned in the chat, there's apps that we use like SQL, which we have to keep updated. There's appraisal systems which we have to use on a daily basis. And I think for us, well, certainly for me, it's quite a big thing, this. So yeah, so hopefully I'll have a read, and hopefully if I've got any further questions, I'll give you a shout.
Victoria, I am not going to let you leave Lovell House at the end of your session without you knowing where your files are and you're comfortable. That's part of the deal here, is that everyone gets the update and the training, and at the end of the session you sit there and you make sure that you can find everything you need to be able to find. Are my files there? Can I find them? Yes, great. Can I access these applications? Yes, great. And assuming you can do all of those things, we can send you on your merry way. Otherwise, we'll have problems.
And I can also reassure you, we have tested the P drive files linked to SQL, and it works. So yeah.
Okay, might be longer than half a day with me because I'm a bit of an IT dinosaur, unfortunately. So apologies, but thanks a lot, guys. Thank you.
That's all right. Well, Roger, you've
the
got
great
your hand.
thing is as well, if anyone does have any questions, queries throughout, even if IT are not available, we're usually, now we've been doing some testing at Lovell, and we're around and we can go through things again with you, either myself or Roger. If we're around, don't be shy, pop in, say hello. We will help wherever we can, even if it's slightly afterwards and there's no one available for you.
Yeah, there will also be the cloud change champions, which will be in a lot of your different teams who once migrated, like, will be able to help and let us know if there's anything more, because the IT will be pretty busy as well. So yeah, but we want it to go as smooth as possible. So let us know if you need anything.
Great, thank you very much.
Roger, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, just to say that since we've had this conversation, I showed you I've actually properly migrated the OneDrive into the new desktop, so I can now see it, which I couldn't before. But I think it's just worth pointing out that although it's what it appears to be another app called OneDrive, in fact, all it is actually replacing your old personal folder, and it's now called. It just happens to be that folder's now happens to be called OneDrive, and the advantage of it is, whereas all your folders and all your files were in a server which was in the deep dusty basements of Eastland's house, it's now up in that wonderful thing called the cloud. And so, which means that you can access your files and folders from anywhere that you can log into your One Manchester account. So if you're really, really keen and you suddenly find yourself on holiday in the Bahamas and you thought, right, I might just do some extra work. Why? I've absolutely no idea. You could access your One Manchester account through the cloud. And similarly, you can also access your OneDrive through your mobile if you actually needed to, if you wanted to look at a file when you were in a meeting and you didn't have your laptop with you, and you could. So it's just a function of looking at your files up in the cloud, as opposed to sitting in the deep dusty basement, as John put, in Lovell House, in Eastland House.
Okay. Before we've got a really quick one. Invites will be going out, I imagine, in the week before you get migrated, or
No,
in advance.
Yeah, hopefully a couple of weeks before.
There we go.
At least we're going to try and give everybody as much notice as possible. We're going to have to ask some of you. I'm sure we'll have conflicts and things like that. But if it's meetings that can be changed, then I would ask that you look to change those meetings. Obviously, we're not going to tell you to cancel holidays and things like that. But if there are little regular things in this effort to get all of these people through by September, we are going. It's a little bit of a we've just got to get everyone through. So we just beg your patience and ask that when you're called, unless you're on holiday or ill or whatever, then you make the effort to turn up, because obviously that will then have a knock-on effect on future migrations.
Yep. And then
Yep.
Patrick. Patrick, in practical terms, is this a change in how we access the system? Just conscious that lots of technical issues are being spoken about, but most users will only see the difference in where they access applications.
Yeah, there's an element of that is the case, but also it's, as I said earlier, there's sort of streamlining, having everything in the cloud, being able to collaborate with each other, having it's use of applications. It's your Teams experience will be so much better. We can't really run Teams in VMware Horizon, so we don't have those problems anymore. So it's not so much just about access, it's also about ease of use and having everybody working off the same platform. I don't know if anyone from IT wants to add to that.
I think that sums it up pretty well, Johnny. It also is a platform for us going forward for the other cloud migration work that we need to do. But yeah, from a user perspective, it just will be a little bit easier for people to do some of the things they do every day. So
yeah, I think what it is all I can recommend to every single person here and who watches this later on is utilize the time you have when you're doing the upgrade for any of these questions and worries that you have. You're going to be given plenty of time to go through it, like John said, to make sure you know where your files are, what's going on, anything like that. And just because that time is finished doesn't mean that you're then left to your own devices and no one else will answer your queries or anything that you come up against at a later date. There's always teething issues with anything, and I'm sure there'll be the odd thing here and there, but the amount of testing that has been done to mitigate as much of that as possible has been really well done. It's the first time actually in a long time where I've gone, you've done testing for a substantial period of time to make sure that any of these teething issues are looked at. I think it's been nearly 2 months of testing just on actually the environment itself and making sure that systems work as they should be. You can connect. And we're talking to the nth degree here. We're literally talking about things saving to where they should be and then going in the next day and still seeing that they're saved there. So I can assure you as best as I can from somebody who isn't in IT that I've been really impressed with the amount of testing done around the environments and around the software. And even being able to download items, I think the company portal isn't something we've touched upon at all, but that's another thing that's being introduced where things are so much easier to download that you need for your team. System-wise, where you'd previously had to come into IT and get them to do the password for an admin password for that item to then be installed on your device or get them to shadow in. That is now so much smoother and cleaner. So really just a fantastic job all around from the team in actually getting this rolled out.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Glowing praise. Dawn, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, it was just about the invites being sent out. It was just they will be going out for the first people from the 19th, hopefully this week. After that, they will go out. Can I just ask that if the appointment or the time isn't suitable to you, if you reply back to it'll be either Joseph Marino or Uzwa who will send out the invites, because they will rearrange it for you. Please don't go to the IT help desk because they're not going to be anything to do with this. Joseph and us were actually sorting out the scheduling, so if you can reply to them if it's not convenient, that would be great.
Cool. I think there's a few more questions up here that we need to tackle. Patrick, do you want to expand on what you were saying?
That was just covered.
I think it was covered.
Sorry, no, I think it was just, I don't want to underestimate all the work you're doing by any means. I just know for the average worker at the company, a lot of this is just going to go straight over their head. And it, to some extent, I think it does to me a little bit. It's just, I don't want people to be confused by everything that's being spoken about, when to most people, I think it is just, here's where you log in.
Yeah. I completely agree, Patrick. And it was one of the main worries that we had when it was being looked at. And when I was first shown it, I was like, okay, I'm quite tech savvy. And at first, when I was told that we're making a change, I had all these sudden worries that were like, uh-oh, what does this mean for the average user? And by that, I mean, I've got people who, I've got a team of nearly 40 staff that I manage who have got multiple abilities. And my panic was, how do I get this rolled out to everyone remotely? Was how it was initially, because we didn't know where we stood. At least with this, it's a case of you can come in. But having seen it, I am so less worried. And it is, like you say, it's more a case of, instead of using this green VMware logo, you use a different logo, and then you will see all your icons instead of in a separate. And the best way I can describe it is, when you're using like a soft phone and you're using Teams and you're having to minimize VMware and then relaunch it, so you're like, oh my, where did I have that? Was that inside or outside? There's none of that. There's none of this minimizing to find what's outside of VMware and stuff. It's just a much cleaner experience for people that have to constantly flip between, and it's just one location, and that's rather than having the two locations inside and outside, it is just turn on your computer, sign in, and you're good to go. And I think for the vast majority of users, that won't be any different than that. Once you're shown where you log in, you'll be able to crack on.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, some people are going to notice the changes more than others. Some people, because we all work very differently across Manchester. So some people, they're going to realise, oh, I can do things, a bit better now. I can do this and that. Some people might be, well, actually, I can just get on with my job exactly the same way as normal with minimal changes. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, and frankly, if 350 people come back to me on the 20th of September and say, I don't know what the fuss was about, then job well done. If we can get to a seamless position, that would be wonderful. But I think Simon's just made that key point, and we've heard from Victoria and we've heard from others. People do work in different ways, and different parts of the system are more important for others depending on the job they do. And we've seen the difference in marketing and comms and so on and so forth. So, but what this great opportunity we have over the course of the summer is we'll be seeing you all face to face in a COVID-safe environment, going through this update together, going through the stages of the update together and talking to you about the key differences and the key points. So everyone will have a sort of standardized introduction to OneDrive and so on. And that's where things are changing. Using OneDrive, being able to collaborate on documents together in real time and things like that. Those are some, those are definitely changes in the way we're working. So the other thing that we're doing here, of course, is all essentially foundational. It's all part of the overarching IT shaping our future strategy. This is something that we have to do to create this platform to allow us to then add to it in the years to come with ever more interesting applications and ways of working and things like that. But we've dug the hole. Now we're filling it with the concrete, and those are the foundations done, and then we can start building all sorts of exciting things on top of it. But if we can get through the process all together with a standardized approach and standardized training over the course of 10 weeks, and I think that puts us in a really good position for the future.
Yeah, Isaac's asking about how many times we'll have to sign in to utilize the software. Is it going to be a single sign-on process? Simple answer is, Isaac, you will have to sign in as much as the software and the system asks you to. There is still two-factor authentication. However, you should see it less, where you're getting constant texts daily. However, if you, for example, change where you're working and use a different Wi-Fi network, or if you sign into a different device, or it picks up that there's a more than basic change to your work and what you're doing, you'll probably be asked again to sign in. And that is just in general. But it will try and use your login where you log in the morning as the information that it uses. But yeah, there will be times where you'll notice that you're getting more two-factor authentication requests than normal. And an option that you've got there is also to use the Microsoft authenticated tool, which is an app, and you can use that instead, where you're not having to input a number, so that you can use on whatever devices you have. And that's something else that's an option, and I'm sure that can be discussed in future, or maybe it'll be a good idea for something like that to be shown, Simon and John, on the day that people come and do the upgrade.
Yeah,
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah, the main thing is you'll have to sign in less. I think that's the key message there.
Yeah. That's the short answer.
Okay. What else have we got?
I think that's it for now.
I think I saw something about how long. Yeah, there we go. Michelle, how long will the update take? I'm conscious I said this probably right at the beginning, and people have been joining. So we are expecting that it will take a morning to do the updates. We're testing that theory this week, actually. So we're expecting to do it in groups of 5 in a morning or an afternoon session. So that's what you'll be invited to do. I won't get into the technicals of what we're trying to do there, but there are 4 or 5 stages to the actual physically updating the machines. We have to, I think it's already been mentioned, we have to install Intune first, and then we have to do various things around VPNs and printing and mapping across the shared, mapping the folders across, the files across, and then eventually the last bit of it is the new desktop environment. So there's 5 distinct phases of what IT have to do to that laptop during the morning, and there will be periods of time while that is happening. We could know the phrase beach balling, where you will not be able to access your laptop because it is updating. So it's going through that process of updating, and those are the periods of time in the morning that we would use to train out things around OneDrive, more on Teams, and so on and so forth, and the new desktop environment. So that's trying to sort of bring to life what your morning will look like. You'll arrive at 9 o'clock or 1 o'clock. You'll sit down in a group of 5. There'll be someone there from IT to instruct you on what to do in terms of press this button, press that button, download this, do that. And so that will be the course of the morning, really going through those updates. And as I mentioned earlier to Victoria, and the same applies to everybody, right at the end of this, your laptop will have been updated, and then it's a case of spend a bit of time getting used to it, make sure you can access all the things you need to access, that you're happy and comfortable with it, you've asked the questions you need to ask, and then you're updated, off and away into the new world. So yeah, and the short answer is about a morning or an afternoon, Michelle.
Simon, did we test the finance apps? Because someone asked, I think Carl was asking that here before.
Yeah, we have been testing. I'm still actually waiting final sign off on those from Johnny and Wes in Carl's team. But yeah, that will be coming this week, and certainly, yeah, looks good so far. Don't expect any issues with those.
Good question from Isaac.
I would recommend.
Sorry. No, Karen. Well, no, carry on with that, and then I'll come back to Isaac's question.
No, the other thing is, if you manage large groups and you're worried about people obviously being taken off, that kind of stuff, again, maybe if you contact the team and let them know. I know I will be when it comes to the call center. I've got specific people. I can't have too many people off the phone queues at any one time. So I'll be asking them to kind of balance the number of people that they have from the call center. So if that's the same with regards to place or anything, obviously message John, Joe, and get in touch with the guys, and I'm sure they'll work with you, because that was one of my worries as well.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, Isaac's asked a question there about new laptops in the future and whether they will be pre-migrated. I think I'm going to pass over to Simon on that one.
So basically,
the question.
Yeah, I think Ian's already answered it, but I think.
Oh, have you? Sorry, I didn't see that.
Yeah, just in the thread, but yeah, basically where we can, we will. We can't necessarily guarantee we will always do it as part of this rollout, partly because we've had some supply chain issues because of Corona and all the rest of it, probably Brexit as well due to some of it. But where we can't, it's not a problem, because basically the new methods that we're rolling out means that we can very easily translate them to a new device. So we'll be able to upgrade you on your old device if we have to, and then when we get your new device, it'll just be a seamless switch over. So, but yeah, certainly where we can, we will.
And Anisi's asked about working as normal for the time being using the remote desktop. The answer to that again is yes, Anisi. Just keep working as normal, update QL as normal, and just work all the way you can. No one's asking you to change the way you work, and then when you have your upgrade, that's when things will slightly change. But up until then, keep using VMware. Don't worry about things not saving. They will save as normal like they always have done.
Yeah, and certainly the way we're designing the rollout, there will be some people across different teams even who are migrated into the new world, and some will still be using Horizon, and that's fine. It's designed for it to do that.
Okay. Any more for any more?
Nah.
Right. Well, I think we'll call it a day there then. This will just remind you to occasionally have a look at Enigma, and we'll be sending out more cloud experience emails, and obviously look out for your invitations to the day, and have a little look at your W drive, home drive, personal documents, and start thinking about how you might clear those down. But otherwise, for a lot of you, see you on your day of your laptop being updated. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and also for those who missed this session who would like to, if you want to share it with your colleagues, it's going to be on Enigma. We're going to post it there, and obviously on the chat, whoever even didn't show up can still see the recording after. So yeah, if you want to, if it's useful, then feel free to share it with your colleagues. I think Isaac asked a question as well, by the way.
Oh.
There, if you want to
Yeah, just last question from Isaac, just about updates, just answering. Basically, yes, so all your Windows updates will now be managed by us through a new bit of software called Intune. You don't need to know what, but basically, yeah, that bit will be done for you, and all major application updates as well will also be done. So it will save you the bother of that. So
It's another perk. Okay.
Good. And anyone can contact me anytime about this if any questions, and Jojo and Caro and of course the Cloud Champions is your first point of contact. But the general stuff, I'm always available. So feel free. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.